I'm Adam SMIDDY, CEO and co-founder of YourCheck, and I want to introduce you to a friend of mine named Emily. Emily worked really hard to get to where she was in life. She was a biomedical engineer working out in the San Francisco area when she got that letter. She'd be going to the greatest university of the land, the University of Michigan, to earn her MBA. Her and her husband were very excited, and they wanted to come and enjoy the Michigan summer before starting school, so they tried to find that sublease in Ann Arbor. They looked on the traditional sites, apartments.com, but didn't find anything until they found something on Craigslist. There's an MLS ID. She did all the research she could. She signed some paperwork online and sent $3,500 via Venmo. But when she got out to Ann Arbor, she quickly realized that it was a fraud. The listing was real. It was a real place, but somebody actually owned the unit. She was out her $3,500 and started off her Michigan experience on the wrong foot. And we exist to prevent problems like these from happening, where two people are meeting online, not really knowing who the other person really is, if they're real or has the background they say they do. Whether it's a volunteer showing up to your site to perform a duty without the right background, somebody you're going to sublease to without the right rental record, or going on a date with somebody who's not even giving you your real name. All of those were real stories that came out of customer discovery, but they boil down to a simple truth. Today, you are expected to become your own private investigator, to keep yourself safe while operating on these platforms. Because one thing is for certain, is that anonymity is easy. And these platforms expect you not only to protect yourself, but to police the other users that are on them. One other thing came out of customer discovery is that women are most likely to use our platform. Whether it's buying or selling something expensive in a parking lot, going on a date with somebody and making sure that they are who they say they are, or trying to find services, whether it's for a babysitter, elder care, or a handyman to come into your home. And we took this one step further while in product development, and we conducted experiments and market testing. Over a 6-week period, we had 2,400 people come to us, and we confirmed, yes, the majority of those are female. But we had a big surprise, a 9% download rate, where we try to capture individuals' email addresses, showing them our solution, which is almost 3 times the average on the App Store in our product category, the utility category. And here's that solution, which really the Venmo of background checks, a way that I can obtain my own background check, review the results, which is a consumer report, and then share those directly with another individual without risking my privacy. Because we're only providing the results of those checks, not the details. We're not giving you my social security number, my date of birth, or where I live. Just yes or no, did I pass the check? So ultimately, how do we get on phones? How do we get in front of consumers? Well, we're going to continue that direct-to-consumer advertisement where we saw success in those download rates. But we also found channel partners. These are places where consumers are already going to get background checks done, but don't have access to the results outside of the employment context. So we get on their phones, and as soon as they're on there, then they have the ability to request this information from somebody else. And that's when we get into the organic growth, that huge network effect. Now that channel partner traction, a little more on that. Those nonprofits that are out there, there are several in the US, 10 states in fact, that require every volunteer in that state to conduct a background check before performing a duty. And we're going to begin those partnerships with CAN, Community Action Network here in Ann Arbor, where they conduct hundreds of background checks on volunteers every year. We're in discussions with 2 other nonprofits currently, one on the East Coast in Philadelphia, vetting 175,000 volunteers a year, and another Michigan agency counseling over 4,000 homelessness cases every year. There's also women advocacy groups, like Every 2 Minutes, providing resources to women who are dating in metropolitan areas and on college campuses to feel safer. Now, the competition in this space falls into 2 buckets. There's the old guard, a Sterling Talent Solutions, formed in 1970, growing through acquisition of regional markets and new technology, or Checker, a startup that came out of Y Combinator, but services the gig economy and performance-based platforms like Uber, Lyft, and Airbnb. However, the industry lacks a solution for Emily, a place that she can go to verify somebody else that she's speaking to, or even consume her own consumer report to verify the results. And our business model is simple. We're sourcing this information either internally through our own processes or from other players in the industry, providing that directly to the consumer as a transaction. You will get your own criminal background check for $15, and we will guarantee your ability to share it for a 6-month period. And then we will have subscription-based services, Think about those nonprofits that need to onboard thousands of volunteers every year to integrate into their current practices. Or those gig workers, those professionals. Think about an electrician who not only should verify his criminal background, but also his certifications, because he needs to be licensed to be insured. That way, he can increase his own economic value when trying to obtain a customer. Now, our total addressable market is quite large, and there's overlap here, and that's by design, where there's that consumer space, that unregulated market, where consumers are interacting, doing anything and everything on the internet. Volunteers, 77 million Americans volunteered in the year 2018, and there are those 10 states that require the checks to be conducted, or the gig economy, which is growing year over year, especially in times of recession. Our team. Before getting my MBA at the University of Michigan, I spent 10.5 years in U.S. Army Special Forces, leading teams across the world through very difficult mission sets. I've also been through the background check ringer myself, having obtained the top secret security clearance. Mike SKOWRONSKI, a Michigan MBA who specializes in business analytics and machine learning. He's also a database engineer, making solutions for large enterprise clients. And TONI Esquire, a practicing attorney and Michigan law graduate. She's also a veteran entrepreneur herself, having previously launched a startup in Canada focused on becoming the Pokemon Go of tourism. Our timeline, we're going to be quickly launching our public beta, hopefully this week, next week. We'll be onboarding CAN, that Community Action Network of Washtenaw County, beginning next week, continuing to develop those conversations with other organizations, expanding our data sets throughout the year, using these volunteer orgs to help us develop our CRM to integrate with some of these other practices, and continuing that in the future. So what changes? If we were in the marketplace when Emily was looking for that sublease, she would have been able to verify who the person was that she was speaking to. And if the person went through the check, then she would have trusted us. And even if they did it, then we would have increased the trust with her. By being able to vet the people she was talking to, she would have been able to keep that $3,500 and enjoy that Michigan experience as soon as she came to Ann Arbor, which is fabulous. I want to thank you for your time. If you'd like, you can go sign up to be one of our first beta testers at yourcheck.co/first customer, and go blue.